We're live. We're live with Quarantiki number 80. We think it's 5, so we didn't look it up ahead of time because, well, we just got back from dinner and immediately had to set this all up. And didn't want to set up too much because after this, we hop in the car and we head back home because we're not home. Because it doesn't look like my bar, obviously. My bar is a little different. I know where everything is. I know where most things are here because I just set them up. So what are we going to do? We're going to give thanks because this is the Thanksgiving broadcast, and so one of the things that we like to do for Thanksgiving is we like to run off to friends and family.
Hi.
Hello, here in Illinois. We're kissing.
Yeah.
That's new. That's cool. Um, and totally distracted at this point. Hey, oh, how about if I put the mic up here? That might be a better idea. Right? Turn the mic on. We'll just do that. At risk of being like really, really loud, because that's what happened last time.
Yeah, there's that.
All right, so we got home like 15 minutes ago. We got home. We got here about 15 minutes ago, and so I've planned nothing for this. So we're going to see how this goes. Normally, we start with a short toast and some rum. So
Do we have room?
we have rum because we don't travel with. Okay, I can't say we don't travel with rum. We sometimes travel with rum, but it's usually flasks of rum.
Becca says hi to everyone.
Becca, but what we do is since Virginia is an alcohol control state and there's various restrictions on what alcohol can be sold in Virginia, when we travel, we like to stop in at places and see what they have. And so one of the things that we managed to find is another Denizen rum. Now, you've seen me use the Merchant's Reserve Denizen on the show before, but this is the 100 proof Denizen's Reserve. And we are going to do a little toast with this. I got some like people to do. I have to find some glasses here. Helen, do you want a little sip?
I would love a little sip.
Okay.
I love rum.
You don't get a sip.
The little one just back on it. We do have a studio audience.
And we have a hi from Fort Lauderdale
Woohoo!
from David and Chris.
Yay, David and Chris. So this is just a little splash. It is 100
And I need a little splash.
Very good
Yes,
glasses.
somebody is actually driving. It's not me.
Yeah. Well, and I will be driving a short distance.
And Colleen says hello.
Hello all.
So come on up here.
So Denizen rum. So this particular Denizen
I am
is
behind the bar.
a blend of rum agricole. So this is 20% rum agricole.
Helen in our live studio audience tonight.
And 80% is Guyanese rum. So that's coming from Diamond Distillers in Guyana. And it makes a very nice combination. One of the reasons for buying this was because we thought we might want to do Mai Tais at some point over Thanksgiving. And so I needed a rum agricole, but I didn't want to buy yet another rum agricole for the collection. So I needed some rum agricole in here. And I needed a Jamaican. So I went ahead and we just bought a bottle of Probitas. And the Probitas has both Barbados and Jamaican style rums in it. And it is quite good. And if we decide we don't want to travel with the open bottle of Probitas, certainly I can just stay here because it's a good, solid rum. The Denizen I'm taking with me because I
You want to give Helen a glass?
suppose. Here's a glass. Denizen, 100 proof, dark rum.
Cheers.
Here's all. Happy Thanksgiving.
Does the underage one want to come up and say hi to people? You don't get any rum. Come here.
Well, I wasn't gonna drink any rum.
She can sniff a glass.
This is one of my godlings.
Godling. The Ute.
The Ute of the world.
They will be our salvation. Either that or they're going to murder us in our sleep.
Yeah.
You know,
I like this Denizen.
I do too.
Yeah. That combination of the Guyanese and agricole works really nicely. There's a little bit of, you can tell that there's agricole in there. You're used to drinking agricoles. But I also get sort of a menthol kind of flavor off of this. It's a little odd, a little weird on the finish.
Yeah.
But in that case, what we should probably do is go ahead and start with the Mai Tai, right?
Yeah. And we have a hello from Chris, who is also in Fort Lauderdale. Dana is online again, says howdy.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Chris is drinking
Anybody that might be watching in California, which includes Dana.
Chris was drinking a prickly pear margarita and enjoying it. The bartender created it for Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Oh,
It's very pink.
while we were out shopping in Champaign, Urbana, I ran across a store that sells liquid alchemist gear. And one of the things that we picked up from them, actually it was Binny's, had the liquid alchemist Orgeat, Orgeat, whatever it is, however you pronounce French words that have T's at the end. Because we thought we might need more of this than what I brought with me. Turned out we didn't. But at a different store, they also had liquid alchemist stuff. No, it was the same store.
Same store,
Binny's.
Binny's.
And they had a prickly pear non-alcoholic syrup. So I thought, oh, that could be tasty. And we used that in a couple of drinks as well. Drinks that we are not going to be making this evening, unfortunately. But we are going to make a Mai Tai. The Mai Tai involves orgeat as a sweetener. Generally, that sweetener is split between that and simple syrup. I started making the Mai Tais using the split of the orgeat and a spiced syrup, so I've got some of that here. That's your sweetener. The sour component is, of course, going to be lime juice, and we went ahead and squeezed up some limes just a few minutes ago. We need an orange liqueur, and I wasn't sure if they had any orange liqueur, so I went ahead and bought a bottle of the Pierre Ferrand dried curacao, knowing that if they already had something that was an orange liqueur, we could take this home and we would use it, which is what's going to happen, because it turns out that they have triple sec. You can certainly use the triple sec in your Mai Tai, that's not a problem. We also went a little overboard, because have you met us? And we bought the Grand Classico bitter orange from Tempest Fugit. And at some point, you'll probably see me do a bitter Mai Tai that makes use of the Grand Classico. But I know my studio audience, and they're not going to want a bitter Mai Tai. They will want a sweet Mai Tai, so we're going to do something different. So this is my first lesson for making cocktails for a bunch of people at Thanksgiving. I think we had 28 people here for Thanksgiving. I made cocktails for just a handful of those that wanted cocktails. You have to be flexible because not everybody is going to want the same drinks. Not everybody is going to want their drinks done in the same way. So tonight we're going to do a Sazarac because the mistress of the house likes Sazeracs. And I did a couple of different Sazeracs over the course of the weekend. We're going to do Mai Tais because, well, Mai Tais are just delicious and kind of sweet and sour and yummy. And we also did a few gin and tonics of various types and sorts. So we'll do a gin and tonic this evening as well. All right, so what all are we going to do for our Mai Tai? Well, generally, I do my syrups first. So we're going to go 1/4 ounce of the spiced syrup. Swirl this around a little bit. So this would normally be, like I said, a simple syrup. I'm going for just a little more flavor in the Mai Tai, so I'm going to use my spiced syrup, which has its base as a cinnamon syrup, but has a few other ingredients, including cardamom and a few other things infused in it. And then there's the homemade orgeat, who knows? That word that begins with O-R-G,
Orgot.
orgas, orgeat. Orgeat seems to be the way I was pronouncing it earlier. Now, we're essentially making this Mai Tai for Helen because the rest of us shouldn't be drinking. So I know that she likes her drinks a little bit on the sweeter side. So while a general Mai Tai would call for about 1 ounce of lime juice, I'm going to cut that back a little bit and go with 3/4 ounce of lime juice. And we'll note, once again, I put my syrups in first, and then I'm putting the citrus in. Why? Because the citrus will then clean out the jigger and take all the rest of the syrup with it, which is something that Helen will appreciate. There we go. This is also going to work well because since Helen likes things on the sweeter side, the triple sec is a little sweeter than the dry curacao, so that won't work out nicely. We want 1/2 ounce. Now, one of the last times we did this show, I think I did an experiment, or I talked about an experiment, where I combined a dark Jamaican rum with not a rum agricole, but a French rum from Guadalupe, when I made Mai Tai. And that was really phenomenally yummy and tasty. But in general, when you're making a Mai Tai, the rule is to try and use a rum agricole and mixed with a Jamaican rum. I'm not so sure that that's necessarily correct. Some of the histories indicate that the early rums that were used to try and supplement or to try and replace the Ray Nephew 17 that was in the original Mai Tai actually used French rums that were not agricoles. What does that mean? Okay, they weren't done directly from sugarcane juice and a variety of other differences, but in general, they were much more like the molasses-based rums, but they were done in a French style. Okay, interesting. In any case, what we're going to do here is not that, because we are in fact using an agricole, but it's a very light touch, because it's only 20% here in the Denizen. So we're going to go a full ounce of the Provitas. Provitas is a combination of Foursquare rum from Barbados, and should be no shock to you that I love this rum, because it's got that combination of Barbados and one of my favorite favorite Jamaican distilleries, which is Hamden, which does really high ester rums. There for a while, they didn't bottle any of their own stuff. And in fact, they used to sell a lot of their rum overseas as a component for perfumes because it was so aromatic. All right. So we've got 1 ounce of the Denizen, 1 ounce of the Provitas, a ½ ounce of the orange curacao, or in this case, triple sec, and then a 3/4 of an ounce for Helen of lime juice, and then a ½ ounce of your sweet component. And in this case, it's split between the orgeat and a spice syrup. Right. So here's one of the things that if you were traveling and were trying to make cocktails for a group, that you will run into. Your home bar, you probably know what your ice setup is and have enough ice on hand to know how to crush ice. And usually I've got my ice crusher over here to my right, so that if I'm running out of ice, I can just go and crush some more ice. We got around this by sending somebody out after ice from Sonic, because Sonic makes really good pebble ice and sells it to you relatively cheaply. However, that ice is now all melted, so I had to take a meat tenderizer and beat up some ice cubes, and that's what we have here. That's going to go in a mixing tin. That goes over there. We're going to lid this up. Lid this up.
Mike, cable is slipping.
Mike cable is slipping.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's just going off the edge.
Okay.
It's fine. It's just flipped around. There we go. What's that? Okay. Okay. We'll take this, shake till it cold. That's pretty darn cold. Okay, now lift this off. Break the seal. And then this stuff gets dumped straight into a double rocks glass or a Mai Tai glass. They don't have Mai Tai glasses here. Just like that. You will garnish with a ½ a lime. So just stick that ½ lime in there. Normally I'd stick a sprig of mint and a straw in there, but we don't have a straw, we don't have a sprig of mint. We do have straws, plastic straws, and you could cut them in half.
Yeah, it's a little late.
And that sort of thing, but let's not do that. So there we go. There's a Mai Tai. Wait for Helen. And Helen will have to tell me how she thinks that Mai Tai is.
You have to stand up a little closer so you're on camera.
Nope, she doesn't want to. Nope, she's going right.
Yeah, she's going around the other way. There we go.
Mouth go like this?
Yep. It's like Adam's. What you do? No.
Mmm. Tastes wonderful.
There we go. See, that's what Mai Tai should taste like.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yes.
So we don't just drive across country and stop in liquor stores and pick up booze. No, we stop in places that serve booze too. So on the way out, we stopped at Hidden Harbor, which is a tiki bar in Pittsburgh,
Mm-hmm.
and we stopped at a second tiki bar in Indianapolis called
Inferno Room.
Inferno Room, the Inferno Room. So we picked up swag because that's what we do. Is we picked up swag from these places. Hidden Harbor was great. They gave us some coasters, and we got some swizzle sticks from them that have these gorgeous marlins on them. They're really cool. They have the Hidden Harbor logo on them. Very cool. Patches, more swizzle sticks. And of course, I could have served Helen her Mai Tai in a Mai Tai glass because we did buy a Mai Tai glass from them. But we are traveling, and I'd like to keep this intact and not have to wash it right now. So that's why we didn't do that. So sorry, Helen. Hopefully that's still okay. But so
The drink is the important part, and I'm happy over here with mine.
Helen's happy. I did a good job. Yay. All right. So that's part one. Now, the Mai Tai does have a fair amount of strength to it, and it's not to everyone's taste. So sometimes you want just a little bit lighter cocktail, especially if, you're drinking at the afternoon. Maybe you want something light and refreshing instead of punchy and powerful. And in that case, I like to go with a gin and tonic is a nice way to go. And we stopped in, of course, at the liquor store, and we picked up some of our favorite tonic water, which is Fever Tree tonic water.
We have a Florida.
Hello, Flora. So the tonic water, the Fever Tree tonic water, this is just a premium Indian, comes in small cans. And while we were there, we also noticed that Fever Tree had these awesome little bottles of their lime and yuzu tonic, not tonic, sparkling water. And so we had to pick up some of those. And I've made, I don't know, 3 or 4 gin and tonics over the course of a couple of days and did them with some combinations of these. I'm going to go ahead and open one of the tonic waters in order to make this gin and tonic. And gin and tonic, you can vary the proportions however people want. Some people like to put a little bit of lime in the bottom of the glass and scrunch that up with a muddler. We went really, really simple this time and didn't do any of that. What we did do was use a really high-end rum. Yeah. We used a really high-end gin. We used Monkey 47. If you've not had Monkey 47, you really ought to. It's very tasty. It is a little on the pricey side, though, so be careful there. All right. So what we're going to do is build this in the glass, and we're just going to take a glass. We're going to dump some ice in that.
We have Cheryl.
Hello.
And Flora says, I love Fever Tree tonic. Their bitter lemon is also stellar.
So, yes, I understand. I've got my hands in all of this, and it's a mess. But look, we do what we can with the tools that we have on hand. All right, and that's what we're doing. So right now, I'm going to go about an ounce and a half of the Monkey 47. So we're going to go 3/4 of an ounce. And then we're going to do another 3/4 of an ounce, and that'll give us an ounce and a half.
So GNT, oops, sorry. I'm falling behind.
And then if we want to do 3 to 1, what we would need to do would be 4.5 ounces of tonic. There's 2 ounces. Oh, look, that's not going to work because our glass is not big enough for this. Oh, would we happen to have another glass that might be large enough to do this? Probably. Let's try that. While I spill the tonic water all over the table. I'm just going to bend this. There we go. Plenty of room. So there's 4. And there, wow, that worked out just about right, actually. 4.5. So that's a 3 to 1. You can always do a squeeze of lime across the top if you want. That. Drop this guy in there. Take another spoon. Smoke this brownstone. Just to bring the gin up to the top. Incorporate that. Just like that. Give it a taste. Seems pretty good to me. Might want Depending on how you like your gin and tonic, you might want a little more gin in there, but I think this is actually quite lovely and nice. We have these brilliant little plastic straws right here. Yep, because we hate the environment. Just kidding. And there we go. There's a gin and tonic. And served up a number of those. Made a couple of them with the lime and yuzu, and people really seem to like the lime and yuzu version of that as well. Again, light, refreshing. If you wanted, you could add a couple of drops of bitters to that or something, just to spark that up and make that a little different. But there you go. That's sort of a classic summer drink, but it works really, really well if you're just sitting around and want something light and refreshing and don't want to be drinking something heavy all day.
You are not a sour person, but I'm curious as your taste on this gin and tonic.
I have a really strong aversion to tonic.
Oh, well, then never mind.
While I'm very curious about the gin, I am not at all curious about the
The
gin and tonic.
tonic. Got it.
Because I make really pretty and special faces for tonic. None of
There you go.
them express happiness.
So, since the studio audience says tonic is nasty, I don't want any tonic water. What we're going to be doing is just giving her a taste of the Monkey 47. Here, going to hand that to her off camera, sort of off camera. There you go.
There you go.
Arm reaching out there. Very herbaceous, a lot of different compounds in the Monkey 47. They do a very special technique of how they do their distilling. So they do different distillations for each of the ingredients that they put into their gin, and then they bring all of those together after it's been distilled. Instead of what many other places do, which is you have all of the ingredients for their gin are put into the same distillation all at one time. This allows them a lot greater control over the different components that go into their gin and how that balance plays out. Yes, Helen. There's a comment. She is not making a nasty face, I can tell you.
It feels a little harsher than some gins, but wonderful flavors.
Yep.
So I'm thinking, a
47% alcohol. So it's a little higher than the 43% that you would normally get.
I'm thinking, a martini with just the barest touch of vermouth to soften that freshness might be it.
I see. She's going to dry martinis there. Okay.
Ah.
Yeah, Monkey 47 makes it absolutely fine martini.
Yes.
You want to go a little James Bondy? It makes a really nice Vesper. Of course, that means you have to buy vodka, but no, that's better.
Oh no, not that.
Okay.
So where else did we stop and get swag?
We stopped at, as you said, the Inferno Room. And we actually had the opportunity to buy alcohol at the Inferno Room, and we didn't. They had a couple of things that were bottled especially for them. We didn't do that, but we did buy, oh, look, a Mai Tai glass. Mai Tai glasses seem to get used a lot around my bar, and so it's really nice to be able to have a whole set of Mai Tai glasses. And it's great to be able to have them from different places you visited, so you can talk about the places that you visited. Here it says the Inferno Room. Got some skulls and some bamboo on it, and some flame motif flying around. It's
There you go.
very
Need to hold it closer to the
Garrett's
camera.
going to show it a little closer to the camera. While she's doing that, I'll actually unbox the cool thing. Because, well, I mean, the Mai Tai glass is cool. But why do you go? I mean, what kind of swag do you get from tiki places? You get tiki mugs from tiki places. And let's going to take this slightly out. We can do this. So here we go. This is the red orange glaze Inferno Room skull from Indianapolis. You can see it says Indianapolis on the back. Toward you. There you go.
There you go. It's got the Inferno Room.
Perfect. That is an awesome one.
Oh, that's a. Oh
Yep.
my goodness. So intricate.
So intricate.
Yeah.
Ken Rezick, manufactured by Tiki Farm 2021. Yes, they're made in China, but don't get too worked up about that. All right, there we go. That helps keep the prices down so we can afford to have Tiki mugs. There we go. That's what we got from Inferno Room. The Inferno Room had great drinks as well. The atmosphere in Inferno Room was really, really immersive. We tried really hard. Um,
So
it's
I was truly impressed with Inferno Room. The every inch of the place detail that the last place I felt like that was Zombie Village.
Definitely. Yep.
You know, the
Reach in front of you.
all the different tikis and statues and leather map and beautiful bars and just
It's really cool.
everything was
Yep.
everything was beautiful. And you know, even the places that aren't readily visible, like where we were sitting, there were a bunch of glass slopes on the ceiling. So it wasn't just the places you see. It was thoroughly all the corners.
Right?
Wow.
Wherever you looked, there
Yeah.
could be something else.
I was really
And we got up and wandered around
Yeah.
and bothered other people in other
Yeah.
places of the
Yeah.
bar to go see the tikis behind them. That's not to say that Hidden Harbor isn't very cool. Hidden Harbor has several really large tikis that were made specifically for them, and they are definitely worth
Yeah.
seeing. And they are represented on their Hidden Harbor tiki mugs, of which we did not buy one. I think they were actually out.
They were out.
Yeah, so we did not do that. Okay, so we've done 2 drinks, and we do have one, and we've gone through some of the swag that we bought from the various bars that we hit. One of the nice things, so I mentioned the Denizen. I had not seen the Denizen back where we live, and that's kind of why we pick up rums from liquor stores when we're traveling, is to get things that we couldn't otherwise get. So the Grand Classico we can get, but we just hadn't, and we went ahead and got it just in case we needed a little more orange liqueur. One of the other liquor stores in Champaign, actually in Savoy, had something that I had not seen before, which this is not rum. Hey, I buy things other than rum on Canada, evidently. And so this is Redemption Rye, but it is rye that has been finished in rum casks from Plantation Distillery. This clocks in at 47% alcohol. There you go, there's that.
Oh,
Did I say it was done in plantation casks? Well,
did we like plantation?
we occasionally like some plantation rum, and this is so plantation is an independent bottler. They don't distill their own stuff, right? But they buy stuff from others, and then they treat it how they want to treat it. So this is rum from Trinidad and Tobago. It has been aged 11 years tropically, which is a long time to age a rum tropically. And then it is finished in France for 1 year. So a total of 12 years aging on this. Clocks in at 51.8%. Here is the Trinidad 2009 plantation release. I had not yet seen this locally. We saw it and said, yeah, we should go ahead and pick that up just in case we can't find it. Also, while I dearly love the liquor stores that we visit in Washington, D.C., Washington, D.C. is a little pricier than rural Illinois.
And we'll try that next week.
We will try that next week and probably have it on the show next week.
Where did you get that one again?
That was from Binny's. That was from Binny's here in Champaign, Urbana. Okay, so the last thing is trying to know. You need to know your audience for what you are going to bring for cocktail making and that sort of thing. A number of years back, the hostess for this party had a Sazerac from a restaurant that we had never been to. We've now remedied that because we went there this evening, and she discovered that she really likes Sazeracs. And as a consequence, we started doing Sazeracs as a Thanksgiving thing. So the Sazerac is essentially the Thanksgiving drink around here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do a Sazerac. And I have now been to this restaurant. I have had a taste of their Sazerac. And their Sazerac is made with nut redemption It is made with Rittenhouse bottled in bond, 100 proof. I do not, yeah, right. I do not remember if they specified what they use in terms of an absinthe. If they use absinthe or if they use herb saint or pastis or something else along those lines. Here's what we do. A couple of years back, we bought some Angel's Envy rye, which is a rum cask finished rye. Apparently, we have a love affair with rum, and that's the rye that we've been using around here to make Sazeracs for the last couple of years. I thought about picking up some Rittenhouse or some old Overholt on the way over, but I remembered that, I remember looking through their cabinet and realizing that they had the Angel's Envy and they like the Angel's Envy, so we're just using this up.
Hamilton Walker.
Hamilton Walker is the name of the restaurant. They did a damn good Jack Rose. They did a damn good Sazerac. I did not get a taste of the old fashioned that was done this evening. I hear tell they make a pretty decent Shirley Temple too. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yep. The little one says, yep. Okay, so how do you make a Sazerac? All right, let's not get into religious debates about how to make Sazeracs, because there are people out there that swear that you have to use a sugar cube. There are people out there that swear you have to use syrup, either 1-to-1 or 2-to-1. Everybody's on different camps of how to do that. Some want to make your Sazerac with rye. Some want to make it with cognac. What we're going to do is the Sazerac that I make for Thanksgiving. We're going to do that. Okay.
Which, for the record, your studio audience thinks is better than Hamilton Walker's.
Right. So
Just saying.
the current portion of my studio audience thinks that the Sazerac that I made earlier this week is actually better than, it's not Hiram Walker.
Hamilton Walker.
Hamilton Walker.
Hiram Walker liquor, right? So, other things.
Have we showed off your
What?
metal pint glass? I think we have.
At some point. So, I have a travel case that I carry around when we travel. Since it's a travel case, to keep my cocktail gear in. I know we've shown this off and shown off the various stickers and that sort of thing that are on there. And what I need to do is make sure that I've got a cocktail shaker and a mixing tin and a bar spoon and various other pieces, including a jigger, which is one of the things that I forgot one of the last times I traveled. How embarrassing is that? I can't measure. I don't have a jigger. But I wanted to not travel with a glass mixing tin because glass breaks, any sort of vibration or anything along those lines. And now you're picking glass out of the rest of your cocktail here, and that's not a good thing. So this is a double-walled metal mixing tin. It's a little narrower than the glass mixing tins you've seen me using on this show before. And so it's not as easy a turn for me, but it still works. It's all good.
It's beautiful.
I need a couple of things from my studio audience here, or my technical editor, or studio audience, etc. I'm going to chill this glass down, which means I need more ice. And there's ice there, so I need some ice put in that one. Now, so mixing your Sazerac. You can mix Sazerac in the glass. Often it is made in a rocks glass, and then it is poured into a rocks glass that has been prepared with absinthe. We're not going to do that. We're going to mix the cocktail in the mixing pipe, and then add it to this glass, which we are going to prepare with some absinthe. So what goes into Sazerac? So Sazerac is essentially a rye old-fashioned with Peychaud's bitters instead of Angostura bitters, and an absinthe rinse of the glass that you're doing. That's it. Otherwise, it's an old-fashioned. So we're going to start with a half ounce of simple syrup for this. Now, I don't generally carry simple syrup with me. Simple syrup is boring, and I have a ton of other flavored syrups at home. And as a consequence, I like to use those syrups when I travel. So what I did was I traveled with some of my pineapple syrup. So this pineapple syrup is made by taking the husks of pineapple, throwing them in a Ziploc bag, and then adding an equal part by weight of white sugar. And then we sprinkle it all up, make sure the husks are covered with sugar, and let it sit for a couple of days. And every time you see the bag, just come along, shake it up, and then the sugar will just suck all the water out of the pineapple rinds and creates a syrup in there for you. And so you then strain all of that out. It'll be a little granular, probably. You can always heat it just a little bit to get it into solution. And that's what I've got here. Filtered out is just that pineapple syrup. And that's what I was using for the Sazaracs this weekend.
We have a Ruth.
Hey, Ruth. Hey, Flora. Hey, everybody. Hi. Thanksgiving. Thanks for joining me. Us, here, whatever. I know, it seems like I'm rushing through this. I am rushing through this because we actually have to get on the road. Because I have to be back at work. Not tomorrow, thank goodness, but Tuesday. So we've got the drive from Middle Illinois back to DC ahead of us. So we're gonna
At least Indianapolis tonight.
Yep, at least Indianapolis tonight. Okay, so there's ½ ounce of syrup of some sort, and now we're going to go 2 ounces of your rye, whatever rye of choice. I mean, I really like the Angel's Envy, but I gotta say, the Angel's Envy is probably overkill for this, and you might want something.
We're in Ruth's mom's hometown.
So the Angel's Envy is what I would call a sipping rye, and using it for a cocktail is probably, like I said, a little overkill on the quality of rye for a cocktail.
Is that 1 ounce?
That's 2 ounces. I used this then, it's just 2 ounces. The magic ingredient for this is 2 dashes of Peychaud's bitters. I did not travel with Peychaud's bitters because I knew that Polly had them. So there we go. So we have two dashes of these bitters. Now I don't know who's drinking this. Is Helen drinking this? Okay. The beauty of your third drink is that you can always pause this and go, well, is that where we want it? That seems about right. Or you can stir some more, however you want. If you want more dilution, stir some more. Leave it colder, stir some more, whatever. Okay, so we have this glass. It's a nice cold glass. We need absinthe in this. There's a great big bottle of Herb Saint sitting up there because she loves her Sazeracs. But in this case, I brought my own absinthe. So we're going with actual real absinthe. This is absinthe made from Mount Defiance, which if you watched the show, you knew what absinthe was in. That's the absinthe that I use for cocktails. We love the folks at Mount Defiance. They make a great absinthe and good other things, but great absinthe. Trying to figure out exactly how many spritzes of absinthe you want in this is maybe a little difficult, but it is different than what you would normally see, which is someone would pour a little bit of absinthe in the glass and then just spin it around the glass to coat the inside of the glass and then ditch that absinthe. Well, I have an aversion to just ditching absinthe into the sink, so we're just going to go, there's one. I think we need a little more. Yeah, a little more. Okay, so there we go. Little mister with absinthe in it, right? Awesome stuff.
Did you purchase that, mister? Or
Yes,
We
yes.
did. No.
Purchased this mister. We also purchased this mister, and this is I keep high octane Jamaican rum in here because I can.
I
Yeah.
think I need a mister for absinthe.
These are pretty big glasses because it should come up to about a third of the way in the glass. That's a little under that, somewhere between a third and a quarter. And then typical garnish for this would be just a lemon peel. And I think the vegetable peeler. Yeah, I didn't bring a vegetable peeler. I didn't bring my channel knife. Figured I could get a vegetable peeler.
Here, I'll send you the link.
And then press the oils over there. If you want a little more lemon, you can just run the lemon around the inside of the glass, or you can just dump it into the cocktail. Helen's like, no, get that lemon peel away from my cocktail. There is a Sazerac for you. So let's see.
I negotiating safety here.
Then you need more absinthe. The great thing about the spritzer, you can just go, it needs more absinthe. Yeah.
Oh, it smells so good.
Doesn't it? Doesn't it? Alrighty. She gets a taste. She goes, yummy. Points to it. Pooch, you are successful. That's good because we got to get the heck out of here. So My friends, I'm sorry to cut this short and make this such a short episode, but we do have to pack all of this up, get cleaned up, throw it all in the car, and get on our way. And no, I'm not driving. That would be starved. Folks, I hope your Thanksgiving. Why am I driving? I hope your Thanksgiving has been wonderful. I hope you have found many things to be thankful for this year, and have a wonderful time. Be safe, and have some daggone good drinks out there.